And hello and welcome to today's Creative Commons Open Culture Live webinar. We're going to be talking about bridging open culture and education, looking at case studies in cultural heritage education. And I'm Dee Harris. I'm so excited for today's conversation. I'm the Director of Open Culture Storytelling at Creative Commons, and I'm so pleased to introduce this session, which will be moderated by Shana Hollick. She's our Learning and Training Manager at Creative Commons. I'd also like to thank Bridget Vizina, the Director of Policy and Open Culture, who's been a great help leading up to this event. You know, this is our fifth and final webinar in this series. And if you missed any of the previous ones, they're recorded and available on the Open Culture resource page, and also Creative Commons YouTube channel. So check out the previous recordings, some really great conversations. You know, at Creative Commons, among other things, we're champions of open culture and educational resources, and we recognize their powerful synergy, and that's part of why we're having this conversation today. You know, we want to embrace openness so we can reimagine how cultural heritage is shared, learned, and experienced, while enriching education with deeper connections, broader perspectives, and more engaging learning opportunities. And right now, that's not always a reality. We know that, even in the digital space, and much of the cultural heritage and education resources remain out of reach, which is so sad because they're restricted by copyright barriers that limit their sharing and reuse. So this disconnect makes it hard for people to engage with history and knowledge and creative works that share our collective identity, especially in the classroom. So how do we bridge the gap? Well, we're going to embrace openness to remove those barriers, and we're thrilled to welcome three incredible guests who are doing that work, each leading transformative projects that bridge cultural heritage and education in unique ways. You know, from interactive museum experiences to global heritage programs, groundbreaking storytelling, historic preservation. Anyway, we're just very excited. So I'm just going to introduce them really quickly. We're going to do them in the order I'm introducing. And first we'll hear from Angie Cervellera. I hope I said your name correctly. In the art, she's an arts teacher and cultural manager, a museum specialist in Argentina. Since 2020, she's coordinated the Culture and Open Knowledge Program at Wikimedia Argentina, and she's designed initiatives that connect heritage, institution, materials, and knowledge in Wikimedia projects. Her project is a groundbreaking project that transforms museum collections into interactive open license video games. I mean, how cool is that? By blending entertainment with education, these games challenge players to explore museum collections through Wikipedia and Wikimedia Commons, and unlocking knowledge as they progress in innovative ways to bring history and culture into life. Then we will welcome Dr. Gireesh Kumar, a scholar specializing in open access and open educational resource policies. He's the lead researcher and visiting professor at the University of Pavia in Italy, and his work explores how open knowledge can shape education and culture engagement. Today he will introduce Reconnecting with Your Culture. It's a pedagogical program developed by the International Research Center, EDA, in collaboration with UNESCO, Forum Chair, University, and Heritage. This initiative empowers children and young people worldwide to engage with their cultural heritage, fostering awareness and appreciation of their cultural legacy. So Dr. Kumar will also share how the center's education methodology aligns with the UN's 2030 Agenda Goals in Quality Education, highlighting its objectives, teaching approaches, and global collaborations. And then at the very end, we're so excited that Dr. Raphael James actually, I believe he just joined us. I see him in the square. He's a pioneer in historical preservation and Director General of the Center for Research, Information, and Media Development, a leading institution in media research, historical documentation, and skill development in Nigeria. As the founder of Nigeria's richest private history museum, Dr. James has curated an extraordinary collection of over 48,000 photographs and artifacts. He's documented more than 610 tourist sites across the country. His passion for storytelling and preserving Nigeria's heritage extends beyond museum walls, and he's authored 59 manuscripts, published 24 books, and has tirelessly worked to promote literacy, donating 70,000 books nationwide and running a free public library in Lagos since 2004. Wow. Today, Dr. James will share his inspiring work of the center's storytelling and historical preservation efforts, demonstrating how open access to history can connect communities, shape identity, and inspire future. So I am going to stop talking because, I mean, we have so much great information coming at you. So over to you, Shayna, to get this conversation started.
Great. So just noted in the chat, each of our presenters will have about 10 minutes to present their work, and then we will have time at the end for a combined question and answer session. Please enter your questions in the chat as we go, and I will collect them and make sure that they get asked. You'll also be able to unmute during the Q&A session and ask questions aloud. So at this time, I'd love to turn things over to Angie to tell us a little bit about her work. Thank you, Dee, for sharing the slides. We should be ready to go.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be sharing all this information and this panel with people with so much work, right? So, well, this is just a little project that we developed in Wikimedia Argentina. It has to do, as Dee mentioned, about open access, education, and heritage. And this project is called Código Cultura. Let's go to the next one. Just in case, I mean, I know Wikimedia affiliates are very close to Creative Commons, but just in case, I wanted you to know Wikimedia Argentina is the local chapter of Wikimedia Foundation here in Argentina, in South America. I am the Culture and Open Knowledge Manager. This is a program that is usually known as GLAM in other countries, the GLAM program that works with cultural institutions and promotes open access, focusing on underrepresented content so that we can think of new narratives or new voices that can co-create knowledge, right? So in the next slide, I will tell you what is, just in case, but I know that we are all, I think we know about this, but just in case, an open collection. This project that is called Código Cultura works with collections from museums and from archives that have no restrictions on its use, right? Because they are in content in public domain, or they have open licenses. This means that people in all the world can use these contents, these materials. They can be artistic, historical, scientific, any kind of material. They can be used with any purpose. So usually when we think of open access, we think of like digitizing these contents and then make them available. But then what we discovered in our everyday work, right, is that people they need like more initiatives to make that content more visible, or more like for people to use them, because they are open access, they are online, people can go and read about them, but it's like there's like a part that was missing, that is like a real product where we can put all these open license images and information. So that was like the starting point, let's say, in thinking of Código Cultura. Was like, what is the point of digitizing and making content accessible, apart from, of course, people going online and reading about these materials? So in the next slide, we came with this program that is Código Cultura. It's a learning and financial program that aims to create interactive experiences with museums' open collections. These interactive experiences, after some time of working on it, we discovered that video games were a good format for people to interact with all this heritage, because we usually, when we think of video games, maybe we think of only funny or entertainment products, but we really can create both entertainment and education initiatives, right? I'm going slowly with my English because, as you know, I speak Spanish. Well, this entertainment and education format has a name in English that is edutainment. That it's been as we have been studying, because of course Wikimedia Argentina and Wikimedia in general is not a video game expert, but we've been studying a lot, and there is a big concern about how video games can also be useful for education purposes. And this edutainment like area of study inside this video game world gamify, yes, also gamification, exactly. Thank you, Shana. Well, this is like something that's very starting to be important. Here in Argentina, there are a lot of local games that start talking about history and culture in a way that it is fun, but it's also helps people learn about local history. So, and where does this open content fit in this proposal? Well, collections, documents, and information are uploaded by museums and archives to Wikimedia Commons, to Wikipedia, also to Wikidata, so that they can be accessed by users in order to make progress on the game. That is, for example, to solve some puzzle, to answer some question. So inside the game, there are some parts where you have to go inside Wikipedia and search for information, or you have to zoom in to some historical picture to discover something, or you have to, I don't know, make a better order of Wikidata items so that well, users can yes, make progress on the game and discover new things. Let me see what's the next slide. Well, this is about the structure. I will do it fast, but just in case you want to do something similar in your own countries. The structure was 5 groups of people from museums or archives that learn about different things like project management, intellectual property, about the Wikimedia ecosystem, and new digital narratives. These groups used objects and information from their institution to think about video games. As I said, for example, treasure hunting, solving puzzles. Then they uploaded this information to Commons and Wikipedia, and I can say we have more than 50 documents or pictures from the institution online. And this was, not every group could be developed, but only one was like chosen to continue the process. Then I can show you, where is the link? Well, when I finish, I can put the link in the chat so you can play a little bit. This is one example. This is the Aventuras Marítimas game that is for the museum. This is a museum from the central bank that has a lot of bills and coins, historical coins. So there was one coin that has like a lot of history because it was drowned in the sea, and they had to go and search for it. So this is just an example. If you go next slide, you can see that there's a part of the game where you have to All this is like I don't find the word in English. Well, obra derivada. This is like the images made from the originals. Of course, they are drawn. They are yes, drawn, and all the originals are uploaded to Wikimedia Commons. So when you find the original, now go to the next slide. You can see that there is the picture, the original picture, and that there's a button where you can go and find more information in Wikimedia. So in the next slide, you can see that this is actually uploaded. It has a very, very high quality. That is like something that is very useful in the Wikimedia projects. And you can see as well in the next slide that all the information about the institution is online. So people, if they are interested in knowing more about, I'm just finishing, about this kind of heritage, they can go to the museum, they can call or write the museum, well, they can read the description, and very important, there is the license that says that it's in public domain, so you can use it for whatever you want. So just to finish, in the next slide, some things that are very like potential about this initiative. It's like a local professional community participates both in, if we think of as the producers of these video games, but the users as well. They are also students, they are people interested in heritage, and that maybe if they, I don't know, if they visited the museum is very beautiful anyway, but in some cases, some museums may be a bit distant from people and difficult to understand. So this kind of games help people understand and learn about heritage with open collections. These as well are very innovative topics for these professionals and for museums and archives. So they can, well, they are learning like new digital tools for their professional work. We have invited specialists to talk about, well, as I told you, edutainment, for example. Well, and it's a big opportunity to develop a product where open access is the main feature. And a product that we can, as I was saying, it is more than just digitizing, but having a product that you can offer to your public. And well, very important because this is an education heritage meeting. Well, local heritage gets more visible and allows people to find new meanings about it. So, well, I think I can leave. I can leave for questions in a while. And this is like a question for you to, if you want to afterwards tell in the chat, for example, if you know any other project with digitized open collection that promotes education. Well, thanks so much.
Well, thank you so much, Angie. That was wonderful. I am a big fan of games myself, so I was especially delighted to see that. Please, if you have questions for Angie, put those in the chat. We're going to do those at the end. Right now, I want to turn things over to Dr. Gireesh Kumar. You are welcome to share your screen and tell us a little bit about the work that you're doing.
First of all, I thank all the participants as well as the Creative Commons for giving me an opportunity to be here to share and listen some of the global leading projects, especially in the area of open educational resources as well as cultural heritage area. And I will be talking about one of the prestigious project. It is a kind of a learning platform or a pedagogical program, which we call it as RWYC, Reconnecting with Your Culture. And I will give a general idea about what is this project and what are the activities and how this pedagogical program is working around the globe. So when you look at this particular slide, let me close this first. Sorry. Okay. So when you look at this particular slides, it talks about the entire thing of RWIC, and I'll be talking about the objectives, pedagogical methods, activities, and then we will have a conclusion about this particular project. So when we talk about reconnecting with your culture, it is something like the school of the world, or we can say that it is a cultural heritage education for the children of the world. Or in the other word, you can say that a global level school project for the new humanism, and which always pursue the objective or the major agendas of UN 2030 for sustainable development goals, a global level initiative for quality education. As we know that the quality education point, which says in point 4.7, by 2030, ensure all learners acquire knowledge and skills needed to promote sustainable development, including among others through education for sustainable development and sustainable lifestyles, human rights, gender equality, promotion of a culture of peace and non-violence, global citizenship, and appreciation of cultural diversity and of culture's contribution to a sustainable development. So we will be focusing on this particular agenda of UN, so that this particular project will be leading in the country. So it's a kind of an international pedagogical program which brings the younger generation very close to the values and contents of their local cultures and strengthen their feelings of unity and belongingness. And it is being started in the year 2020, exactly saying July 19th, and it was promoted by EDA, that is SND Architectura. It is an international research center located in Italia in collaboration with UNESCO Forum Chair University and Cultural Heritage, envisioned by Professor Olimpia Niglio. She is one of the professors in University of Pavia in Italy. And the other objective is to strengthen the knowledge of local identities, traditions, culture, and customs among the children, especially in the age duration of 15 to 17 years old, and express them through creative thinking. It also provides an opportunity to the present generation to build a strong awareness on the significance of cultural heritage, especially tangible, intangible, or living cultures, and also to bridge the generations gap. And it implement and practice of various learning methods to see cultural heritage through the eyes of children and to enhance their creativity. As we know that children are the present generation children will be leading the country and leading the future. So we need to have some kind of a nurturing program in which they should know what is our ancestors have done and what histories we have and how the past have been the past, what are things which have been happened. So these are all will be connected. So we need to strengthen the international collaboration in that way also to contribute and promote local culture and to convert the younger generation responsible and creative global citizens towards cultural heritage. So these are all the visions of this particular projects as a international learning projects, as we know that it made the quality education of SDG of UN and discovering the treasures of local culture. As we know that we have heard that a lot of activities or a lot of mechanisms or the technologies, tools, etc. have been happening in even GLAM or even the archaeological side, museum sites. So whenever we look at this particular point of view of cultural heritage, safeguarding, protection, dissemination, as well as the conservation and preservation. So when you look at all these points, as we know that there are many activities and there are many projects which are happening. So even when you talk about the UNESCO's cultural heritage list, World Heritage List, so as we know that these are all having some kind of a universal value, or we call it as some kind of a universal value. So what about the local values of cultural heritage? So who will protect that? Who will preserve that? Who will safeguard those things? So it will be always a question for the local community, because it is something like a local community's treasure. So we need to have some kind of a training or pedagogical method or awareness program to the younger generation. They should know about the availability or the accessibility of such kind of a cultural heritage in and around them, or we call it as a local cultural heritage. So they should be creating a little ambassadors of culture around the world through this particular program, which enhances the cultural knowledge and creative thinking of the children. And it is also bring the young minds accountable for their cultural past. That means they will be responsible for their particular local culture and values. And also it built a strong bond with the local cultural diversity, which always have a sense of belongingness. As we know that when we talk about cultural heritage, which is in our own area, we will be always attached to that particular heritage or the culture or traditions, rituals, whatever it may be. So there should be kind of a sense of belongingness, and we as a local community, we have the responsibility to protect them for a sustainable development, or it's for a long-term sustainability. Understanding the concept of cultural proximity, as we know that it establish and promote international collaboration. So that is also one of the important aspects of RWIC, and it also disseminate local cultural identity and wisdom, which strengthen the identity from local to global. So many of the cultural heritage which are part of local community are unknown to the world or unknown to even the adjacent countries. So through this particular program, so we always believe in differences, we always believe in similarities. So we have a different cultures, different differences in cultures. So we should have at least one platform where we can share those similarities, those differences, to get attracted to the cultural heritage. And when you look at the network of this particular projects, so we have collaboration from 5 continents, from Africa, North America, South America, Asia, and Europe. And this is the entire project developments or the activities in the last 5 years. We are going to complete the 5 years by this July. So actually it was started in the year 2020, officially launched in Peru. It's a place called Lima. And as of the first stage, when you look at this first stage after 1 year, this particular pedagogical program could make international collaborations and sharing programs. So with the participation of 51 countries and 5 continents, there were 3 international meet and 120 seminars and 34 lectures during this year of 2021, just after completion of 1 year. And then after the completion of almost 2 years, it could make 21 countries and 4 continents. There was a big international exposition or exhibition of drawings of more than 1,000 children. And also in the year 21-22, they made a formation of official committee members, and then first international conference, which has happened in 21. And then there are a lot of activities, programs. And when we reach up to this particular point, we have a global network of 40 countries around the globe, and international conferences which have been conducted in 7 different occasions. And there were international exhibitions. The 5 exhibitions have been conducted during these 5 years. And also there are 300 plus international seminars which are part of this particular pedagogical program. So when you look at the authority or governing authority of this particular pedagogical program, Professor Olympia Niglios, she is the president of this particular RWIC program. And there are honorary presidents, public relation officers, executive coordinators, and also we have international and national committee members from each and every country from 5 continents. And these are all the partners which are collaborating with the this prestigious project. And when you talk about the activities of this particular program, so we have different programs, and we can propose many more programs under different areas like drawing, painting, symbols, or artistic expressions, even your own music, stories, and building structures or caricatures, whatever it may be, or all the areas which have some kind of a historical value or cultural value that can be part of this particular program. And the methodology we use normally, even all can become a part of this along with the children. As I told you that the children of age between 5 to 17 years old will be the main participants of this particular program. Of course, teachers, parents, and friends, all those can become accompanied by them, or they can support the initiative of this particular program by the children. And the children go and tell their own experience of knowledge in contact with the historical, artistics, and cultural legacy, especially their local culture. And they draw as a tool, as a communication. So there is no language barrier, there is no communication barrier, and there is no other skills barrier for this particular program, where children, those who learn something about the culture and something about their local traditions, rituals, whatever areas which are having some kind of an artistic or historical values or cultural values. So that can be drawn in the form of a picture or kind of a paintings or drawing. So activation of a complex process that requires reflection and attention that we know. So it is a common place for children around the world to create a sustainable society with a strong cultural roots in its community, with which goes beyond the physical boundaries and physical boundaries within the country as well as across the globe. And there are various organizations, universities, as well as institutions and colleges, schools, all, and even the local communities are part of this particular prestigious program. And when you look at the pedagogical method, so it has three major important steps. So walking through your cities, so walking through your city or area or where you reside, the children can walk in and around that particular place, and they can find out some of the interesting things which are having some kind of a historical value or cultural value that can be a part of a creative thinking for them. So it can be drawn, it can be spoken, or it can be in an activity. So anything can be part of that. So they can discover whatever is available, and they can talk about that particular cultural heritage. And also we have to undertake the search. Sure. I'll stop it in 10 minutes. That's why I'm going a bit fast. So how to undertake this search? So that can be supported by the teachers and the parents and also the other organizations. So these are some of the recognition which have got by RWIC in the recent years, and it has become a member of New European Barbers. It is also a chartered member of the European Cultural Heritage Skill Alliance, and also it has been highly recognized in the UNESCO Mondial Cult project in 2022. And these are all some of the brochures which showcase from different countries and different continents how they perform or how they envision this particular project in their own country. And as I told you that the participation open to all children and young people around the world, students from the school between 5 and 17 years old. And of course, it is a free program. Only children need support from the parents and school, and they can send their creativity to the members of respective national committees of that particular country, and that will be showcased in other countries also. So these are all the areas where we can work on it, like understanding local traditions. Children can go to the field or their own areas where they will find out, and somebody will assist them, and even local community can also support them to understand, to get awareness about the program, so they can enhance their creativity in that way. And through art and craft, and then universal exhibitions from different countries, they can send their drawings to a particular country, so that can be showcased in each and every country. And art on heritage, draw your heritage as educational material. When we talk about open educational resources, it is highly matching with this particular goal, where we can make such kind of resources open access. And it can be even walk through your heritage city, people can read, write. And these are all some of the pictures which I have shared to you to get a clear idea about what are the activities or programs that can be performed under this particular program. So these are all some of the local, what we call it as traditions or rituals or historical aspects normally we see at different countries. And even it can be a collaborative classroom effort or group activities. And also you can have an exhibition of all the drawings from different countries. You can invite the drawings from different countries, and it can be displayed in one of the iconic place where people will come and gather and see, and then they will be able to get more idea about their projects, etc. And these are all the activities, irrespective of the place, irrespective of the country, or irrespective of the person who is assisting them. So this particular project can be performed. And there are many activities in and around the areas people normally do, like they issue some kind of a certificate for the students, those who have participated in this particular program, or kind of motivational classes. All these are part of this particular program. And we have many exhibitions. So these are all different countries, those who have participated in the exhibition process, so that people can make some kind of a particular country or a place where they will gather different drawings or the creativity of the children from different countries, and it will be showcased in one place. So these are all the snapshot of different programs and exhibitions. So these are all some of the initiatives which can be part of this program. You can make some kind of a post cards. We will be talking about your cultural I mean, the histories, like some of the guidelines which I have mentioned. So I will share this slide instead of reading all these things. So these are some of the ideas where we can make some patriots pen where an important event that propelled your country to the forefront to the global stage. So that will be showcasing its strength and resilience to the world. So that you can make some kind of pictures, drawing, etc. in that way. And voice of valor or shatter surprise. So these are all some of the unique or maybe particular events which can be part of that RWIC. And even you can have some kind of a movie making program with the children, and jewelry design or some kind of a traditions, artwork or costumes. All these are part of these projects. So whatever a student can do that. And we have international conferences also, like the first international conference was happened during 2021, and consequently 2022 the second seminar has happened, I mean conference was happened. And there are many other activities which are part of that. Even we can share the cultural experiences of different countries under this particular platform, even for the experienced people from the side of GLAM or archaeological side. So those who are dealing with such kind of a cultural heritage, so that will become that will be giving some kind of a motivation or some kind of an awareness program to the children, so that they will be attracted to the projects. So in conclusion, help your children to appreciate the value of their culture and tradition. Help the young generation to apply their creativity to know more about their cultural heritage. Let the children see their cultural heritage in their own perspective, and let the children understand the importance of cultural heritage in the life of each person. And also let them respect their culture as well as the culture of the world, and also let the children preserve and transmit the knowledge of the community and the cultural diversity of their particular country. So if you wanted to know more about this project and the activities, I have put only 1 or 2% of the activities which are happening through this particular project. So you can have all the resources and all these particular activities. Everything can be available all this website, or even you can email us, and then we will be responding to your queries. Thank you so much.
This is wonderful. Thank you so much, Gireesh. What a wonderful initiative. It was so great to see all these pictures. I want to move right along. I know we don't have a lot. I wish we had more time. But last but not least, I want us to be able to hear from Raphael James, coming us today from Lagos, I believe, in Nigeria, to tell us a bit more about the work that he does. Go ahead.
Thank you so very much. I must say kudos to the team of Creative Commons for this kind of opportunity for us to express ourselves and share the works that we do in our respective countries with you. In Nigeria, we run the Center for Research and Information Management team runs a museum. It's actually the Pioneer History Museum, private history museum in Nigeria. What that means is that there are quite a lot of museums in the country, but they all belong to the government, that the national museums. Then 1 or 2 other individuals are running their own museum, but they are not focusing on Nigerian history. And what we decided to do is to focus on Nigerian history. And in doing that, when we started by documenting photographs. So our major focus initially was on photographs. So we like gathering photographs from all parts of the world, from old newspapers, old magazines. We had to visit all the states, get elderly people, go through their photo albums, and try to get photographs that can tell Nigerian story. But along the line, we got to realize that our story is beyond photograph, and we started looking for unique artifacts, kind of day-to-day use of materials over the years that can actually tell our story. And that was when it occurred to us, for example, that things like the gramophone that was used in the 20s and 30s, the younger generations don't have an idea of what a gramophone is, except if they're seeing it in photographs or they're seeing it in the video. We started sourcing for materials like that. We started sourcing for vinyl records. Nigerian music have been on for over 100 years old, but no particular organization was documenting them. And we felt there was need for us to start documenting Nigerian music. So we started looking for the gramophone plates. We started looking for large plates, the small plates, the medium plates, as many as we could get. And presently we have over 4,000 vinyl records, all Nigerian music. Not only that, there was need for us to also start documenting beverage bottles. In my country, we have quite a lot of brands. Some of them were major brands in overseas countries that they opened their branches in Nigeria. Some of them were strictly Nigerian products that started. but most of them back in the 80s and 90s, some of these beverage companies closed down. And most time you see young people, elderly people talk about that. Like, oh, there was a particular brand called Dr. Pepper. Of course, in America, Dr. Pepper still exists, but in Nigeria, Dr. Pepper is now a history, and young people don't have an idea of what the bottle looks like. So we felt there was need for us to start sourcing for all these bottles, and we had people across the country. We have to pay them, go search for bottles wherever you can get them, and we pay. We get these bottles across to Lagos, clean them up, and we put them in the museum. Another set of things that we also thought of documenting, which wasn't also very unique in my country. Yeah, overseas, there are quite a lot of postage stamp collectors. I mean, people take it as a hobby. Over here, I could recall that when I started collecting stamps as a young man back in 1974, I was the only one collecting postage stamps in my school. And a lot of people look at me like, who is this strange guy? I mean, what are you doing with all this stuff? So there was need for us to also to start documenting our postage stamps. And as of today, I don't know if there's any other museum in Nigeria, but we have all Nigerian postage stamps that have been printed from 1960 when Nigeria became an independent nation to date. We have all of them intact. And we have some other postage stamps from 1960 downwards up to 1916, 1917. We have stamps from those areas. And unfortunately, most of these things that we have are not yet digitalized. And that is what we're trying to look at. And there was need for us to also document Nigerian currency, which is actually my focus on this particular discussion. When young people come to our museum or when we hold exhibitions on Nigerian currency, we see a lot of even elderly people who are like, oh my God, I never knew Nigeria used this particular money. I mean, and these are currencies that have been used over the years, and people don't talk about them. Okay, for example, in this particular case, this was an exhibition that we did. We did an exhibition and we had quite a lot of people come to visit, and people were seeing currencies they never used before. So we started documenting them from coins to paper notes, bank notes, and the oldest Nigerian coin we have in our collection now, besides the fact that we have some foreign coins like the Portuguese coin, because the Portuguese, according to Nigerian history, were the first set of Europeans that entered Nigeria. So we have samples of Portuguese coins that is about 300 years old in our museum. We have the British coins that were introduced when Britain came in and colonized Nigeria. And as of when Nigerian coins were started printing, the first set of Nigerian coins that were printed, according to our record, is about 1906 to 1910. So we have the 1910 and subsequent coins that have been issued over the years. And we are now thinking that there is need for us to digitize them. As much as we have them in physical formation that you can actually come into the museum and see them, what of those who don't have access, who can actually come into our museum? And that was why we started reasoning that if we can actually digitize them, have them front and back, all copied, and we tell stories about them, it would be a wonderful thing to do. Last year, we came up with this other crazy project on Nigerian currency where there was need for us to get to find out who are the individuals behind these currencies. Most of Nigerian banknotes are printed abroad, outside the country. But in all history, there are just two Nigerians that have been involved in designing Nigerian currency. We get to meet one of them. The man is about 84 years old now. We spoke to him, and he explained to us that in his own case, for example, that there were a team of designers who worked together, and as such, none of them could actually take the credit. He said even him can't take the credit of that. But again, back in the 80s, 1987, 88, Nigeria had its own first Nigerian designer, and the man in question is based in Italy. We had to search for him online. We got through to him. We interviewed him. And interestingly, when he was in Nigeria last December, December 2004, he visited our museum and he was so excited to see the currency that he designed. And in fact, he actually confessed that he was seeing quite a lot of Nigerian currencies for the first time that he has never seen. Yeah, this is a collection of our coins over the years. We classify them as pre-colonial, post-colonial, and the different dates when they were issued. For us, beside those things that I've mentioned, for us, what we want to do is to leave a legacy that the younger generations that are coming up will get to read, get to understand what Nigeria is, get to know where Nigeria is coming from, and probably have an idea or a concept of where Nigeria will be heading to. And one basic way we can actually do them. And if you look at this photograph, for example, beside the stamp, you can see some frameworks, some artworks. What we also did was, the stamps, the postage stamps come in a miniature version. We had to recreate them and make them bigger so that people can actually see the features of those stamps and get to appreciate them. So we have about 100 of these designs that we made. We use mostly for exhibition for people get to see them. And that is it. Okay, what else? We have quite a lot of other things, like some very funny things. For example, the different types of combs, that Nigeria have used over the year, different types of clippers that we've used, different types of pen, um, telephone sets. We have those ones under telecommunication. We have a section on telecommunication. Nigeria, at a point in time, had a civil war, and a particular country, part of Nigeria, the eastern part of Nigeria, pulled out to form what became the Republic of Biafra. So we have a section of Biafra in the museum where we talked about the Biafran currencies. We talked about their banknotes. We then we have a collection of books, massive collection of books on Nigerian Civil War, about 50 different books on Nigerian Civil War. We are also building a collection of biographies of prominent Nigerians, and for that we have over 300 biographies of Nigerians so far. And those things I'm listing out, I'm telling you, if you check other museums, they don't focus on this. Probably they feel they don't need it. And that is the gap we're trying to now to cover up with our museum. So for us now, we are believing that with time we should be able to get a means of digitalizing Nigerian currency, making it accessible to younger people. And this means we're going to have the e-version of these currencies. We also we're working on a book, an exclusive book to tell Nigerian currency story, quite unique way. And we're also working on a cartoon format of these currencies so that younger people can actually get to appreciate it. Like playing with the cartoons and reading them, you can actually see the value of what have been used as money over the years. Because before the banknotes were introduced, there are quite a lot of other items that were used, including cowries, manillas, and even we have what is called tobacco money. A lot of people in Nigeria don't even know there was a tobacco money where the tobacco leaves were actually used as a means of exchange. So these are the things we are working on, and we are also working on building an animation format of all these currencies to make it easily understandable by the younger generations. I'm done. I think I did it
Yes.
under 10 minutes.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Raphael. I love that, the community just saw a need that, we need to preserve these parts of our cultural heritage that aren't being preserved in other places, and just got together and did that. That's very inspiring. I want to open it up now. We have a few minutes for questions. So please put questions in the chat, or I'm also going to leave a little bit of silence here if anyone wants to unmute and ask any of our presenters. You can choose one or two or ask all of them any questions.
I actually have a question. And first of all, thank you all for presenting. It was so inspiring. So Dr. Kumar, I'm curious, I know you talked about the cultural sharing program. Have you digitized the art from the children to share with other children in different regions? Is that part of this? Because I think it could be very inspiring for somebody in another country to see how another child is interpreting their own culture. Is that part of that?
Yes, definitely. So we have such kind of a exchange program saying that if you make some kind of a collaboration, it's a kind of a collaborative effort in such. So if a particular student or a community is interested to have some kind of a collaboration, so we have even each and every country, we have committees and members for approaching them. And so if you make a communication with them, so even the last time also, even Mexico, we had a program like the collaboration of all the children, those who are interested to come to this particular place and share their whatever performance, even it can be an art perform or maybe whatever perform, so which represent their country. So we had such kind of a collaboration also. So only thing is we need a minimum number of participants to make such kind of a great events. So otherwise we need to go for an online or virtual programs. So we always do that.
Excellent. And I have one for Dr. James. So is it difficult for you to acquire assets for the collection? I mean, I'm sure you're constantly looking and asking. Is that a challenge for you to find these historical items?
Yes, quite a lot of challenge for me. Maybe because of how my own country is structured. I'm going to share an experience with you. A particular guy had posted a video where he said they were trying to put up a foundation of a building, And when they were digging, they found 2 rifles that were used during the Nigerian Civil War. And I wanted to acquire these 2 rifles and put in my museum. And the first challenge I had was the fact that if I pay, or I already paid for it quite all right, but I couldn't move it from the state where it is down to Lagos State because I was told the police is going to get me arrested for carrying out a gun that is not functioning again. I mean, the gun was already rusty. The wood is already chopped off, but I felt it was of historic importance for us to preserve this. So I got across to the police trying to find out if they can give me a permit for me to go and move this rusty gun. And it was taking a longer period. It moved from 1 month to 2 months. And by the time I eventually was able to get a permit, the young man I bought the gun from that I paid for got somebody who was paying something higher and he sold it to the person. So it became a big loss, not just to me, but to Nigeria as a country, because what I felt was he has just taken a part of our history away and probably placed it in the hand of the wrong person. So these are the things I experienced most of the time. I've also had a situation where I'd gone to interview a man who was in his 80s and he had quite a lot of history to himself. And while I was doing the interview, his son walked in and said that I was supposed to pay the father the sum of 250,000 naira, which was a lot of money for me. And I tried to explain to the young man, I said, see, I'm not using it for anything. He said, no, they have paid you so much money. You're coming to take this thing for. I said, no, I'm taking this interview so that we can preserve our story. When your dad is gone, you probably don't even know the story. So if we don't get it from him now and keep it and he's gone, the story is going to go with him. And the young man refused, insisted, collected my tablet from me and deleted the whole interview I've done because I just couldn't pay him the money he was demanding for. So these things come in a whole lot. I've also been to one that some guys came out from the bush and they took my camera away. And I had to plead with them and explain what I was doing to them. And yes, they returned the camera back because like the guy said, he said that I was humble. I wasn't fighting them. And so he returned the camera back to me and I had to give them something from my pocket just to appreciate them. Yeah.
I think it's a problem all over the place because it's very difficult for some people to let go of those items. Thank you so much. And then Angie, I do have one quick question for you as well. I mean, I love the fact that you're gamifying this education and cross-referencing. Are you planning more games in the future or is there anything in the pipeline?
Yes, we are approaching a national organization to support as well this initiative so that it can be bigger or have more financial sustain as well. So I think this year we are going to make the program bigger. So yes, absolutely, there are going to be more games, and we as well we are going to have a more like a visual landing page so we can show all these results. But yes, it's the idea. It's also the idea that museums get to understand that there are a lot of other ways to use open content. So, I mean, that's like the final objective, that they can use the Wikimedia projects, that they can upload data collections or improve knowledge on internet and have more products be done with all that information. So yes, that's it.
Creative uses of cultural heritage. I love when people think outside the box, and all 3 of these projects are doing that. I know, Shana, we have some questions in the chat now.
Yeah, Angie, we have a question in the chat for you. How did you engage cultural institutions or archives that were not yet digitized? Did you connect them with a Wikimedia program to help them digitize, or did you have to limit yourself just to work with organizations that already had their materials digitized?
In this case, for the Código Cultura, yes, we needed institutions to have something digitized. In fact, like it was part of the the form where they could appoint themselves. But we have been working like 8 or 9 years now in a project that is the digitization project of Wikimedia Argentina that helps a lot of institutions to have their collections digitized. So it's like we have been working a lot with making collections digitized, And then we thought about this project to do something with that collection. So I don't know if I answered the question, but yeah.
No, that was good. And I think we have time for probably one more question. This is addressed to Gireesh, although I had a similar question in my mind for all the presenters. I know many of you talked about how you're specifically supporting children and having children interact with cultural heritage. The question for Gireesh is, do you have any programs for adults to do these kinds of drawings or make these connections with cultural heritage? The questioner says they've worked in dry stone walling for around 20 years, and documenting that intangible culture and that sort of traditional skill is a hands-on lived experience trade. And those folks are often drawing to work out problems, but it's not as easy to get them all in the same place as school students. So that is one possible barrier. But yeah, I'd love to hear more about how that kind of program could work for people of all ages.
Definitely, it's not a barrier always. It's not a barrier. Even when you talk about barrier, it starts from the ground level. So when we talk about small kids or children, so convincing them and making them engage to this particular activity, it's something like a challenge. So it is rather a bit easy with the grown-up children. Like we plan for 5 to 17 years. So what I could suggest in this particular aspect is maybe the younger children or maybe the person who is beyond 17, so they can assist in providing or giving some kind of an input to the younger generation or the children, so that they can also be part of this collaborative program. Suppose even if you make some kind of a program in the schools, etc., so normally, or even the colleges, if they make some kind of an extension activities or some kind of an exhibition of the local community, so these are all GLAM can be involved. So in such kind of activities, maybe part of that, the other community can also be part of that. So we need to explore in that way.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We are actually at time. So I'm so sorry. I know we had one more question in the chat, but I want to make sure that I know some of you will have to run to other meetings. So we are going to have to end here for today. I want to thank so much all of our presenters, Angie Cervellera, Raphael James, and Gireesh Kumar. Thank you all so much for sharing your initiatives. Please reach out to our presenters if you would like more information about their work or you're interested in collaborating on these or any other initiatives. We'll make sure their slides are available and there's contact information there. Also want to make sure people know that if you're interested in learning more about open culture and the opportunities to connect with education or creating a community around this. This is the sort of work that our open culture platform does. So please reach out to us at info@creativecommons.org, or you can find out more information about our open culture platform on our website that I just dropped in the chat. So thank you all so much for being here. And we're so grateful for the opportunity to speak with you all today.